Yow! What's up, guys? So today we're just going to go over the ETF2L Season 9 announcement. Pretty exciting stuff over there if you are a Euro player. So definitely over here at XTV, we definitely want to do a couple new features. Just talking about how to get into competitive play, how to get involved with the scene. It's definitely something that people have asked us about. One direct step is to get involved with a league and to join a league, whether it's just as a backup, whether it's a player who plays every once in a while, or whether you're actually a starting player for a lower level team. Playing on a team, playing with the team is really the way to get started. Besides the pickup games, besides just joining lobbies or IRC channel stuff. TF2.pug.na is the premier source for that in North America. I don't know the Euro channel off the top of my head, but I know that there's a very good one. Gather, I think, is still being used over there. Maybe they've adopted the Pug bot. But also in Europe, ETF2L is the premier league. It is the player-run league, which is fantastic. It's community organized. And there's also a large variety of divisions for different skilled players. The North American equivalent of that is definitely TWL, although CEVO Amateur is also a fantastic place to get started. So I highly encourage anybody who's interested in getting into competitive play to start looking at teams that are low-level teams. Just ask around for people to play with, find some scrims, play some lobbies. We'll go all over that more and more. But let's get to the details here of ETF2L and what they announced for Season 9. I'm going to be looking up here just a little bit just to make sure that I get all the data set. So signups are open Friday, March 4th. Signups close the next week, Friday, March 11th. Then seedings are published Tuesday, March 15th, and the week 1 starts March 21st. So you got just a couple weeks to get this going. There are going to be some new maps, which is fantastic. Always love seeing new maps being put into play. Warm Front is getting rolled out for the ETF2L, which is fantastic. I don't believe that Cold Front has made an appearance in their leagues yet, but and over in NA we love Cold Front. Cold Front is a fantastic map. And Warm Front features some very good additions and changes to that. So that will be fantastic as well. Another map that's going to get rolled out is Bazillion. That is a new map that I haven't really had any experience on, and hopefully we'll get a fly-through of that on our website soon so you guys can see that in person. Turbine Pro is also going to be used, which just widens some of the hallways, makes some changes to the upper area, and it's very interesting. I think it's some good changes. I really do like Turbine. We are going to see coming up on Monday at 6. Oh man, 8. I think it's 8:30 Eastern is when we're starting. Oh man, dang it! I have to look this up real quick. Sorry guys, I'll hopefully edit that out. So anyways, yeah, coming up on Monday, we're going to have a live stream of some Highlander, UGC Highlander. It's going to start on 9:30 Eastern Time, 6:30 Pacific. That's going to be on regular Turbine, but this Turbine Pro that they're using on ETF2L is going to be a little bit easier for 6v6 play. I mean, even for Highlander too, I'm sure it would be a little bit easier. And it's just going to be played 30 minutes. First team to, or 30 minutes total. First team to get 5 flag captures wins the round, and then it's the first to 2 rounds. So it could go to a tie break where each of the teams wins a round, and then within the last 10 minutes of the map, it's not able to get settled. If the timer expires and it's 3-2, the team that's leading in captures is the winner. And then if the captures are equal, if it's 2-2 and then the map ends, it'll go to a first to 3 captures to decide the winner. So I think that's a pretty good format for capture the flag. It won't make things be too crazy. Let's move on. They're also going to have a slightly new version of Goalie Wash, upgraded by the map maker, and that should be some positive changes. It doesn't take, or it takes out the water on the last CP point of Goalie Wash, which should allow for a little bit of mobility and allow for scouts and spies to hide underneath and get some flank action going on. So that's the map pool. The full schedule is up on their website, ETF2L.org. Now, let's move into the unlock aspect. Now, over on vanillatf2.org, which is a fantastic website for community news from the European community. They also post stuff from NA from time to time. I have posting rights on there, so I post every once in a while as well. It's definitely like the EU version of Community Fortress, or vice versa, So going over the unlocks, this is really interesting. Okay, so for the main combat classes, they basically took the approach of saying what is allowed. Not what is blocked and what is banned, what is allowed. So the main combat classes, they define that as Scout, Soldier, Demo Man, and Heavy Weapons Guy. So especially for the first three, you know, that is the cookie cutter setup. That's what you're seeing. So for those classes, here's what is allowed. Bonk, Equalizer, Sandwich, and Pain Train. So this is really crazy because you know, let's start with each class. So Scout, Bonk. Bonk is fantastic. Everybody should be allowing Bonk. I mean, every competition, whatever. Sandman is banned. That's still kind of an up in the air situation. You know, very understandable to have it banned, although it has been nerfed to the point where it's not really that dangerous of a weapon. I mean, still, the effects of it are detrimental to competitive play, so I can understand why that's banned. Force of Nature, like, when is the last time that you saw somebody in a TF2 lobby abuse the shit out of the Force of Nature? Like, it's not that big of a deal, you know? Like, it's got some effects on it, it does some things, but it's not that big of a deal. Same thing with the Shortstop. It's another tool in the Scout's arsenal, but also, like, you know, you don't hop into an MG server and you're like, oh god, this guy's using the Shortstop. Can we please ban this already? It's like, no, you're just going to kick his ass with the scatter gun, you know? It can't do as much damage at once. So, you know, it's disappointing to see in the scene that some of these weapons are still getting banned when they could be strategical alternatives. I'm going to shift the camera here a little bit. I should have done this before so you guys can see my hand motions. So it's really disappointing that, you know, these alternative weapons for the Scout are still just getting banned. It's like, meh, vanilla, banned. So, you know, what they're calling their unlocks is cinnamon, which is a fantastic term. I love the wordplay. I love the food illusion. It's not vanilla, it's cinnamon. But I think, you know, with a Scout and still the continuing banning of those two weapons, the Force of Nature and the Shortstop, is detrimental. You know, just to the game evolving, the game staying fresh, new things coming out, keeping players involved, and keeping players on their toes, you know. You don't, like, a lot of Team Fortress players are in this for the long run. You know, we're here to play Team Fortress for a while. We've been playing Team Fortress for a while. Like, vanilla is cool, but if we just stayed at vanilla, if we just didn't get any new unlocks, if we didn't get anything, the scene would probably already be dead by now. You know, that is a little bit of rhetoric and a little bit of just spitting things out there. You know, who knows? I don't really know if the scene would have been dead by now. But these things are helping the game develop more tactics, develop more interest, just more flexibility and more interesting things. So let's move on to the next class. Okay, so Soldier, only Equalizer allowed. That is definitely like anytime somebody says we should only play vanilla TF2, I'm like, Equalizer. What about the Equalizer? You know, it is an item that, sure, it is a straight upgrade from the shovel. If you're a new TF2 player and you only have the shovel and you don't have the Equalizer, you are at a disadvantage. And on one hand, that is unfortunate. But, you know, Equalizer is a fantastic weapon, so it's good that it's in there. Now let's look at some of the other soldier weapons. First off, let's start off with one that's been controversial in the North American scene is the buff banner and the battalion's backup. Those weapons should probably be banned right now. They're a little bit soft and easy to use, and you know, no complaint there. Direct hit? Come on, that weapon is trash. Like, the only time you see it used is a soldier jumping into gravel pit and using the faster speed of the rockets to lay down more damage. And this is only when they sacrifice themselves. So it's a situational weapon. I mean, the other possible time that you could use it is you know, I don't know, granary. Like you roll out to middle of granary and you're like, I know these guys are just going to jump boxes, so I'm just going to nail these 2 shots right now. But of course, this is what happens. You see the soldier, you go, pow! You know, maybe you get 1. You know, then you probably miss 2 more shots. And then a scout comes in at you, and you know, you have to only tag him in the air. It can be a powerful weapon, but the lack of splash damage means that you can't contribute to your team's spam very effectively. You know, you can do some decent long-range sniping with it. But, you know, when players start to expect it and they have good dodging abilities, they're just able to sidestep what's going on. So I don't see the direct hit as a problem either. I mean, even the gun boots, gunboats, you know, in North America, it was like, oh, they're going to ruin the game. They're going to kill everything. And I don't think so. And I think if Europe wants to ban gunboats, more power to them. But it's also like, you guys ban the black box. Like, is the black box overpowered, or do you just not want to deal with seeing it? Do you just not want to like look out there and be like, the black box, why is he running that? That's kind of odd. It's a pub weapon. It's effective when you don't have a medic with you. There's no reason to ban it except for just like, you just don't want to see it. So that's soldier. Let's move on. Let's do demo real quick, and then we'll get to the heavy. So for the demo man, only the pain train is allowed. And I think this is disappointing because you take out the possibility of demo night, which and Scottish resistance, which demo night is not really all that powerful. It was trendy for a little bit. Solid Snake was running it. I mean, I think still there could be more situational uses found for it. There's more melee weapons that give you more options. You know, you don't want to use the Eyelander because you can't collect heads because you're not going to get as many kills. Demo Knight is super powerful in pub servers because you have your charge and charge shield that, you know, soaks up explosive damage. You run in, you chop somebody's head off, and then you go back, you get healed, and because you have a head, you're stronger, and then you go out there and you chop somebody's head off. And then once you have like 3 heads, you're like start to get uber powerful. But in competitive game, like, you're not going to get a head, you know, and if you don't get a head, you're not going to get a head. You know, Solid Snake busted it in North America for a while, but it's not really an effective weapon. It's not really truly effective. You know, it's been used situationally. And I think maybe in the lower levels of ETF2L where you have new teams, you know, you'll have some teams that run the demo night and it surprises people and teams don't know how to deal with it. But once you know how to deal with it, it's not effective. All you got to do is have your soldiers switch over to shotgun and your scouts focus down the demo man. If the scouts know that the demo man is running demo night because he's late to mid, then all the scouts got to do is just try to find him, blast him down with the scatter gun, let your soldiers deal with the scouts, and you know, the opposing team is a man down and they don't have a sticky launcher, you know. So I think it's a strategy that works when teams aren't expecting it and when teams don't know how to deal with it. But like, is that a strategy that we should ban? You know, it's not overpowered. You know, you couldn't be oh man, I'm going to try and use a European advantage example. So I'll pull 2 names out of the hat that I know. If you have Paroxysm versus Epsilon Gaming, Paroxysm, a very solid team as we've seen in the XTV replays, but they're not as good as Epsilon, who's top of the charts. So if you have Paroxysm versus Epsilon and Paroxysm runs a demo night, are they going to win the game? No, they're not going to win the game because they ran demo night. And Scottish Resistance is something similar too. It's a weapon that is close to my heart because I love it. I love the concept of it. I love how it expands the demo man's capabilities and raises his skill level in a certain degree. And obviously you have a very big defensive disadvantage when you run Scottish Resistance. If you're doing Capture the Flag Turbine Pro, Scottish Resistance could be very powerful. Because you set a couple by the flag, you set a couple in the hallway, set a couple over there, and you can do your thing. But you can't jump as effectively with it, and you're at a very big disadvantage to scouts. So I don't see why you should ban it. I mean, it's been unbanned in North America. It's been unbanned in all of the pickup games and the scrims in Europe. And, you know, do you see top-level demo men running the Scottish Resistance and owning players of the same skill level? No. Like, if Czar is running the Scottish Resistance and dominating people, it's probably because he's playing against a Div 3 team. You know, it is not an excellent weapon. It is a situational weapon. It can also be used tactically to say, okay, they're turtling at the last point of Badlands. They have a bunch of stickies on their point, but all of their players are on the top levels. They've just been in there for a little bit. They've just been building Uber. Nothing is happening. What do? We have our demo man switch over to Scottish Resistance, lob in 2 stickies, take the stickies off the point, and have our scouts rush in and cap it. Great. Tactics. Fantastic use of tactics. But it's banned, so, you know, you guys aren't going to see that. And I don't think it's a weapon that needs to be banned. And I think this approach of saying what you can allow is the wrong approach. We'll get more into the drama just a little bit as we wrap this conversation up, but let's continue on with the focus. So again, the main combat class is where they're allowing particular weapons versus saying what is banned. So the final combat class is the heavy weapons guy. The only unlockable allowed for the heavy weapons guy is the sandwich. This makes no sense to me. Now, those of you who are true XTV fans know that in my personal life, in my other job, I am a chef. And you can trust me when I say this, that the sandwich is OP. Sandwiches are very powerful. You can put anything you want on them, and they taste delicious. Not only that, in Team Fortress 2, you can throw the sandwich out on the ground, somebody else comes over, picks it up, and they have 150 health. It is ridiculous. So, I mean, it kind of boggles my mind that across the community, and this is something that is happening in the NA scene as well, it boggles my mind that the sandwich is not, I guess I should say, the second heavy weapon to be banned. The first unlockable is the Fist of Steel, and really a broken weapon right now, and not something that should be used. I guess maybe the sandwich should be third in place, because the GRU, the Gloves of Running Urgently, is also crazy powerful. You can use it for just like quick speed bursts, and losing 6 health for a quick speed burst when you're jumping around a corner or whatever is not a big deal. Losing 30 health is not a big deal. So GRU is very powerful, but you know, under these ETF2L rules, like the following things are banned. The stake is banned. The Natasha, which is no longer broken, is banned. The Brass Beast is banned. The Killing Gloves of Boxing are banned. It's just like, come on, guys. Like, ban the Fist of Steel, ban the GRU, and ban the sandwich. And, you know, heavy's fine. I mean, they reduce the heavy limit to 1, which has also been done in NA. And NA has not banned the sandwich. But I just really feel that like those 3 heavy weapons unlockables are overpowered, and everything else is fine. You know, Brass Beast is fine, Natasha's fine. And again, I just feel that it's disappointing that the approach is like, well, what can we allow? You know, sandwich is all right, I guess. But it's like you didn't really like go through it. You didn't say Natasha's fine, let's allow it. Brass Beast is fine, let's allow it. You know, start at the top, work your way down. That's the way to do it. So let's move on to the support classes where, again, there are some slight issues here. But I prefer this approach that they've taken with the support classes. Support classes, all weapons allowed except for the following things. So the Wrangler is banned. Wrangler has to be banned in any sort of competitive play. Highlander, I don't care. It has to be banned. It is not banned in UGC Highlander, and I'm sure we will see it come into effect when we watch some more UGC Highlander, because it is very crazy powerful. You get a defensive boost to your sentry gun while getting an offensive boost to your sentry gun. Of course, in pub play, when you have 2 engineers, or in comp play where if it's not Highlander, where 2 engineers are allowed, it can get really crazy OP. But Highlander, if you only have 1 engineer, it's a little bit better, because then your spy comes in and saps everything. And anyways, Wrangler is still OP and should be banned no matter what. Vitasaw is banned. Amputator is banned. And then also, just to mention it, set hats are banned. And most competitive play, we don't want the sets at all. We do not want set bonuses. I think they're interesting. I think they add to pub play. I think, I don't know, it's part of Valve's Manco economy. But I think it is a step too far in some ways, and set weapons should be banned. But in the support class thing that we're looking at, now you also have the issue of, Sydney Sleeper is allowed, which is kind of questionable in some circles. I agree with the Sydney Sleeper. I approve of the Sydney Sleeper. Pow! XDV stamp of approval. But yeah, I think it's interesting. That the support classes, they're like, well, they're not used as much, so we can just throw whatever weapon in there. But it's like, you still just allow the opportunity for people to cheese. You gotta be consistent with your approach. And I don't think there's too many problematic weapons. I don't think the degreaser is problematic. Pyro doesn't get used enough anyways. The rake is allowed, which some people are kind of iffy about, but it's like you get 50% health from health packs, but then you don't get you get healed slower by medics, so you're gonna get buffed slower by medics. So I don't think it's a problem in competitive play. The Medic's crossbow is fantastic, but I also think that the Medic's crossbow combined with the Vitasaw, which is a set bonus, isn't a problem. And the Vitasaw has been banned, which then bans that set. But the Vitasaw is not really, or sorry, excuse me, the Amputator, right? And the Vitasaw is the one that gets you the 20% on coming back to life. You get like 20% of your Uber left. And that one is crazy. Like, we do not need the Vitasaw. Amputator, the healing effect, now that it's not bugged as shit and doesn't, I don't know, break the server or whatever it was doing for a while there. I think it should be allowed, but I think maybe they just banned it to ban the set bonus, But if you don't have that set bonus, you don't have the Uber Saw, and that is a big downside. So this has definitely sparked up some controversy over in Europe. They've been resistant to allowing unlocks in the past, and supposedly 3 of the main teams want to boycott ETF2L and not play in it. And I try not to use harsh language all that time, so I'll just say F them, F them. Because, it's a community-run league, and I think that the vast majority of players do want to see these unlocks and do want to see, changes get put into place. I know that the vanilla sentiment is much stronger in Europe than it is in North America, but and it's also something that, like, even in North America, you usually hear more opposition on the top level of players. And the reason you hear it from the top level of players is because a lot of these people have invested a lot of time to get to the top. And that's how they feel, is they feel like, well, we have to protect our position, because if there's some new weapon out there that's crazy and like somebody can just beat me because they're using the shortstop, like I don't want that to be allowed. Like I don't want us to have to think of new tactics, like we're fill in the blank team and we've been in the top 4 of ETF2L, for the past 3 seasons, and I don't want one of these new teams to come up and use the Sydney Sleeper and some weird class arrangement and beat us. Like, to me, that's what that sentiment of like, no, we just need vanilla, we just need the old stuff. That's what that embodies, And I think you see it in a lot of the top tier players because they don't want to see change. They don't want to have to learn new things. They just want to keep on doing what they're good at. But I also don't see, the difference between, learning some new stuff. You guys are still going to be awesome. Like you guys are the top players of TF2. You guys are the top of the scene. Learn some new tactics. Your game just got spiced up. Like if you just played the same season over and over again and you're like, awesome, I am the best soldier, I'm the best scout, I'm the best demo man, and we got these tactics on lock. There's no gunboats. There's nothing crazy. Let's play another season and let's get in first place again, Like, thumbs up for you, but, like, it's just boring, So I'm glad that ETF2L is allowing some unlocks, but, like some of those teams, I do have some problems with the unlocks that they allowed and that they chose. And always with these issues, it's like, we need to have open discussions. We need to have actual discussions. ETF2L has done some of that. I don't know exactly how they came to this decision. I'm, not super in tight with the European scene. The hours, work out okay that during my day I could be chilling with a crowded evening of European TF2 players. I don't know if there was a meeting announced. I don't think there was. I think this was an admin decision. And that's how the league is based. That's how the league is structured. And, any sort of community organization like this, if the admins make a decision that the vast majority of players do not agree with, it's going to eventually get rectified. The players will speak up, the teams will speak up, the admins will hear it, and it'll get rectified. So it's not really a problem. And also with this season, the season hasn't even started yet, so there's still the opportunity to make some changes. Hopefully they take steps forward and not steps backwards. Yeah, because I think it's disappointing to see stagnant nature, and I think ETF2L has tried to rectify that. They've tried to get some testing data. They've had the experimental ordnance cups. They've had the beta cups. And I think that, just overall, the top level teams need to play around with these weapons. They need to get some time under their belts so that they know exactly what they do not want involved. You can't just sit there and say, vanilla, like vanilla TF2 or I'm out of here. And it's like, what about Kritzkrieg? What about Equalizer? What about, there's so many good weapons in there that need to be allowed to increase the capability of the gameplay, that the players who are against unlocks, you guys need to come forward with a specific list of what you want banned and why. I totally agree that new weapons, it shouldn't be like, hey, Valve just put a new weapon in the game, like, let's play it, like, let's throw it in the league. Like, no. Like, Valve they do their best, but they do sometimes release weapons that are overpowered for how we choose to play the game. How the pub players choose to play the game, it's usually everything's fairly balanced. Except for the Natasha and the Wrangler. Natasha, now that it's balanced. But, so I think the onus is on us, the competitive players, to set it up how we want to set it up. I don't think that the ETF2L's rules should drive anybody away. I don't think you should not play an ETF2L if you were planning on it because you're upset about the unlocks. Voice your opinion. Voice your opinion in our comments. Voice your opinions on etf2l.org. Voice your opinions on vanilla TF2. But keep playing the game. Some of these top teams that were threatening to leave, they're going to go to ESL and play. And if that's where you feel like the top TF2 play is, and you're just going to play in ESL and then play in LANs, that's your prerogative. That's your choice. That's your decision. ETF2L will still be going on strong. I'm sure the Premiership will still be going on strong. Obviously, that would be a bit of a blow to the caliber of the ETF2L if teams were to leave it to play under another league with other unlocks. But you will probably still have problems with that setting. And if you leave to go to ESL and then ETF2L has a fantastic, successful season and nobody complains about the unlocks once they actually play with them, then then you guys are going to come back to ETF2L next season and you'll be a season behind. So, whatever. But I think that if whatever your skill level is, if you're interested in playing competitive TF2 in Europe, you should definitely head over to etf2l.org, put out a looking post, find a team, get involved, because that's what it all comes down to. So I hope you guys enjoyed this ramble. 30 minutes. Oh my God. And we'll see you guys soon with some more excellent coverage from XTV. Shout out to all the people who've been sending me donations. You guys are so awesome. I mean, like, really, really heartfelt. We've gotten a fantastic response. We're going to be able to buy a good chunk of the gear. Like, basically, right now, we have the funds to buy 2/3 of the gear that caused me to put out this donation call. So we're getting really close. And I mean, like, once we get to that point of where we have all the gear we need to do the top level streaming, then we're going to start looking at putting our funds into community events. You know, a $100 tournament, a $600 tournament, hat values, or, you know, hat tournaments, events with little cash prize from us. I mean, like, there's some possibilities here, and XTV is just rolling forward and forward. So we're really excited about it. And casting Monday night, 8 p.m. EST, 8:30, excuse me, 5:30 Pacific, and that's going to be in the middle of the night for you Euro guys. But we're definitely looking on how we can get our best quality archive version of it. Justin.tv has a solid archive of it. When we try to auto-upload it to YouTube, the audio sync gets off, but we also have another possibility. So we're going to try that out and see how that works. So again, thanks for tuning in, guys. Really appreciate all your views, all your support, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace out.